Osenaga, I'll come to you now. Most of Africa's private sector businesses are small, no matter what part of Africa you're in. How does the private sector, especially the organized private sector, build supply chains that will enable a pipeline of businesses that can actually take advantage of the AfCFTA?
Thank you very much. It is true that looking at things on the ground, looking at things realistically, the small businesses do not stand a chance when it comes to assessing opportunities that the AfCFTA provides. And that is why what we have to do as private sector is to prepare them. I'll start with a few things that we are doing as a private sector predominantly invested in West Africa. So Tropical General Investments Group is a conglomerate of diversified investments across different economic sectors ranging from agribusiness, finance, oil and gas, but primarily agribusiness. And the people that we focus on mostly are the people at the bottom of the pyramid. That's the local farmers. And like one of the panelists here said just now, many of these farmers do not stand a chance because, first of all, they do not even understand what the AfCFTA is about. They are not organized enough, but they are the ones who actually feed the economy. So because they do, we have to strengthen them. So part of what we do to strengthen them is we have to run outgrower programs where you have to provide the inputs that the farmers need. So the first step really in strengthening and building a supply base of farmers or small-scale businesses which will eventually become big. I must say that while they are small, if you continue to invest and scale, over time, these small-scale businesses become medium, and in a good time, they become large. So the first thing we do is finance. So as private sector, we have access to finance. We have access to the central banks. We have access to the development partners. So we give these people, these small-scale businesses, input packages at 0% interest rates, which they can use conveniently. So this is the story of a typical farmer in Africa. He has between 0 hectare or 0.5 hectares to about 2 hectares. And after deducting the cost of inputs and labor, you will see that he's left with less than $100. And this is a farmer who has to feed wives, who has to feed and educate his children, who has to promote them and take them to health facilities and so on. So the question really is, how can he survive? So one way we have to support is to make sure that there's financing for them. The second key thing we have to do in the process of building them to eventually become big so that they'll be able to access these opportunities is to invest in yield enhancement initiatives that will eventually help them scale their productivity. So you look at demonstration plot trials, which you can train these farmers on, give them more access to land, do seed trials, seed multiplications, and over time you see a farmer, for example, in Argungu, Kebbi State, where we have the largest rice mill in Nigeria belonging to TGI Group. We started out in 2017 with 2.5 tons. But today, many of the farmers are getting over 5 tons, and these are realistic numbers. So the third thing to do really is training, capacity building. One of our panelists has said it, and we cannot say it enough. You have to identify core thematic areas, and you have to project into the future. You are trying to build big businesses that will eventually become part of the economic integration story. So you have to identify the key thematic areas where there are gaps. We have to look at health and safety. We have to look at issues of climate change. We have to look at issues of good agronomical practices, good environmental practices, and then even digital inclusion. We had a situation in Nigeria early this year. We had no cash, and we were not prepared for it. So if you teach the farmer, the average farmer doesn't have a bank account. If you teach him digital inclusion, financial inclusion, he understands the importance of having a bank account. Another very important thing is social investment. Earlier this morning, at the session with the president, we had somebody talk about the fact that some of the produce that we produce here in Africa are not really able to maybe get transported to other areas because of quality issues. And beyond quality issues, there are social issues, child labor. If you really assess some issues, you will not be able to take cocoa or coffee from a farm because of child labor issues. So we also have to invest in them. And lastly, youth inclusion and women empowerment. One thing we're doing is to ensure currently a 50-50% participation in the male farmers and the female farmers. So what you see happen at the end of 5 years, at the end of 10 years, is that these farmers become part of the bigger picture of the AfCFTA, where they are part of what's happening with deepening the economic integration, job creation. These are the opportunities that the AfCFTA provides. So you see that automatically, these small businesses begin to assess these things. And in a short while, they become big enough to come to conferences like this and have discussions.
All right.